number, but before we penciled down that number so he could go back and have his call with the company that represents Rite Aid, I said, let's pause for a second. I know you have debt on this property, and this is huge. I said, you need to make sure that with the new rent, you can meet your debt service coverage ratio, right? Because you might have been able to do that. Everyone, I assume, knows that, but a debt service coverage ratio is essentially how does your income look relative to your debt? If your debt is $100,000 and your income is $125,000, that's 1.25x debt service coverage ratio. That's healthy, right? But what if your rent, your mortgage is 100 and your rent is 101? I don't know. The lender is not going to be happy. So there are covenants in many mortgages that say you keep this DSCR, otherwise we'll call the loan due.
That's right.
So you gotta pay attention to that. And this is a little bit tangential. I think it's important. My point, though, George, in answering your question, is that major events like the Rite Aid bankruptcy are going to fuel transactional volume. All of these individuals, and it's worse in multifamily because people made the cardinal sin of being in an incredibly low interest rate environment and not purchasing rate caps, right? Which is biting them big time. Not as big of a problem in net lease. I do have one client that didn't purchase rate caps, and we're selling his properties like hotcakes because we have to, right? But my point is that everybody, very different to residential where people get a 15-year mortgage or more likely a 30-year mortgage. Most commercial loans are a 5-7 year term, right? So anybody who got debt during this incredible time of 2015 till 2022, those loans are coming due, and those individuals have a choice. Like, do I bring cash to the table to refinance, right, in order to meet the loan to value and to meet the debt service coverage ratio? Because keep in mind, the value is not where the value was when I bought them, right? So do I do that or do I sell? So I think that's going to fuel things. I'm really waiting to see what happens. I mean, we're living in very interesting times. If we have one more interest rate hike, that's what is suspected. With everything geopolitically that's going on, I think that there's so much uncertainty. But I personally see rates leveling out in 2024, and I believe that once we see 6 to 9 months of rate stability, i.e. no major changes, I think that we'll see pricing adjust. But what's really incredible, this is the last thing I say, I know I've said a lot on this topic, is that if you look at the change in cap rates versus a change in the federal funds rates, it's a joke, okay? In net lease, you look across the different types of net lease properties, dollar stores have probably been affected the largest extent, right? A 15-year brand new dollar store in a typical tertiary market was trading a year and a half ago at a 5.15 cap.